can't remember me? Santino Marella. I remember you son of a gun. But do you remember wrestling? Aha, that's the show you gotta watch. Because if you're not, you're a son of a gun.
WWE are always trying to get into new regions these days in order to become a true global powerhouse. Triple H even has a name for this strategy: global localization. However, it's not as easy as one might think. Just look at NXT UK, which only lasted 5 years before being shut down in 2022. Possibly the biggest potential goldmine for WWE though is India. It's on its way to becoming the most populous country in the world and has an ever-growing middle class that consumes internet content en masse, WWE's YouTube channel very much included. As such, WWE are desperate to crack that market, which was their main reason for making Jinder Mahal the WWE champion in one of the most short-sighted decisions in the history of the championship. They had another opportunity coming down the tracks though, and in classic Vince McMahon fashion, they ruined it. Veer Mahaan is the closest thing to a slam dunk as WWE have ever had when it comes to making a big Indian star. In 2008, the man born Rinku Singh was one of 2 Indian men plucked from obscurity to be turned into Major League Baseball players. It was an incredible story, so much so that it became the subject of the 2014 Disney film $1 Million Arm. He then signed a WWE contract in 2018 after his baseball career had come to an end. So to clarify, WWE has a guy on their books who has a rags to riches backstory that got turned into an actual Hollywood production who could represent a massive region that is ravenous for WWE content. With patient training and the right presentation, this man had the potential to not only get business booming in India, but maybe become a major player among WWE's global audience as well. Rinku Singh spent 2 years training in the WWE Performance Center before making an appearance on TV. This makes perfect sense, as it takes time for anyone to learn how to be a professional wrestler. He made his NXT debut on March 25th, 2020 as part of a tag team called Indus Sher, which translates as the Indian Tigers. Despite the team being short-lived, they did manage to get one prominent opportunity at WWE Superstar Spectacle. Now this show was a big deal in terms of WWE's plans to expand their presence into the Indian market. It aired in India on January 26, 2021, which happened to be India's Republic Day. The 5-match card featured a host of Indian trainees alongside bona fide main event superstars. Indus Sher found themselves in the main event of the show, teaming with then WWE champion Drew McIntyre to defeat Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys. According to reports, the show was a massive success in India, with as many as 20 million people watching. During this time, Singh would take on the ring name Veer, and it wouldn't be long before he appeared on the main roster, being briefly aligned with Jinder Mahal on the Raw brand before Jinder moved to SmackDown. WWE then aired a vignette on the October 25th episode of Raw that said Veer is coming. This was a curious strategy, as Veer had already technically come to Raw by being featured on TV. However, a bigger problem would follow as the vignettes continued to air. Week after week, the videos were basically all the same. They didn't progress the man's character in any meaningful way, other than that he was a big monster dude. As the weeks, and eventually months, wore on, these aimless, repetitive vignettes turned Veer Mahaan into a joke among online wrestling fans, which is a sure sign they weren't invested in the story anymore. Perhaps the most maddening thing of all this madness was that Veer Mahaan was wrestling while these vignettes were airing. He was winning matches on Main Event that was taped before Raw began. However, it wasn't until the Raw after WrestleMania 38 on April 4th, 2022 that Veer Mahaan finally came to Raw, a whopping 5 months after the airing of his first vignette. He then went on an undefeated streak, even picking up a win over the legendary Rey Mysterio, but there was never any story or substance behind his matches. It was just big guy wins fast over and over again. Veer then disappeared from TV, and now is again stuck in first gear on a combination of his 2 previous gimmicks, simultaneously a member of Indus Sher and aligned with Jinder Mahal. The problem that WWE encountered with Veer Mahaan is one they created themselves, and have done many times before: the lack of booking that is consistent over a sustained period of time, with WWE throwing away his literal Disney movie life story and making him into an Indian savage whose only characteristic was punch. Now that WWE have another superstar spectacle around the corner, it looks like they're going to have another go at pushing Veer Mahaan to the moon. I'd love to tell you he's got a lot ahead of him, and I don't wish any ill will on the guy, but given how things have gone so far, I wouldn't hold my breath.